Once I release it, I have no say. I have the power to pull you into oblivion. You should never have insulted the Jagan Eye. Resisting it is not something I would do.
Dragon! Ah! The darkness flame!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Klausman here. Thank you very much for clicking on the video, checking out the channel. All right, so what we're gonna be doing today, man, is gonna be pretty much the meta build that's been going around for a little minute now. It's my take on it. It's a magic version of the build. So, you know, the big difference is gonna be the sustainability and the additional healing. But you know, we'll get into that as we go through the build. Also, I will have some flex spots, so you know, feel free to change a thing or two about the build if you would like. The important thing to note about this build is it's going to have around 30k penetration. Now, 30k penetration may sound like too much, but it's really not, man. A lot of people have like 30+k resistance anyways. And so a good way to combat that is going to be very high penetration. Now, to go along with the penetration, we also have 88% crit damage, and then you add the 50% natural crit damage, and you get 133% crit damage. Now, why that is important is in PvP, there's no true crit damage cap like there is PvE. You know, PvE, it's 125%, but because of critical resistance, you know, anything over that 125 just mitigates the resistance, and so it becomes like a game in a way. So even on a base player that has no in-pin on, no rally cry, nothing, you're still not going to over crit them with 133% because the game naturally gives you about 1400 crit resistance. This is just showing our crit chance. I forgot in the first frame to make sure I was flanking an enemy, but 57.3% crit chance, so really good. All right, so let's get straight into the part everyone cares the most about, and that's the consumables. We are using Clockwork Citrus Fillet for the food, Great Magic Sustain. Tri-stat potions are my base sustain potion, and then the Move Stealth Detect Magic Restore. So that's always great. We are running the Shadow Stone, so that's going to give you high crit damage and high crit healing. Really allows you to burst players down, but at the same point, you're going to be able to heal for so much when you need to. Also, we are Khajiit for the exact same reason. Those crit heals are going to be crazy. All right, so all jokes aside, let's go on to the sets. On the front bar, we got Order's Wrath. We have 2 sharpened maces for Order's Wrath. All right, back bar, we have a Ice Staff, a Rallying Cry, defending. Very good set, you know, probably the best back bar set in the game. We're running double dot stamina drain poisons on the back bar. We have a heavy Balorg's helmet, a heavy training chest piece, a light Balorg's shoulder piece, Order's Wrath belt, hands of Rallying Cry. Both of those are going to be light. Heavy Order's Wrath legs, and it's going to be medium feet just to complete everything. Then we have the Rally Cry infused, Rally Cry infused, and then the Monolith. This is such a ridiculously highly broken mythic, dude. It allows you to burst players so heavily. Highly recommend it. And let's not forget, not only does it give you minor berserk on the front bar, it gives you the major force on the front bar, but on your back bar, it gives you minor vitality and major protection. So not only can you burst players down super easily, especially with this setup, but then you swap to your back bar and you can almost become unkillable, especially if your resource management is where it needs to be. All right, so for skills, we have Concealed Weapon. That's our main spammable. We have Deep Fissure. This is like a really nice burst skill. It's a delayed burst, but it also provides major and minor fracture. Deceptive Predator. This is how we get away, but we are going to run it on the front bar for the extra crit damage. Merciless Resolve. huge burst skill, and Fetcher Affection. Pretty nice dot. And then the front bar ultimate is going to be Dawnbreaker. Simply one of the best ultimates in the game. Alright, so for back bar, we have Honor the Dead. Super great skill, huge sustain, elemental susceptibility. This is a flex spot. You know, I just like it because it helps me keep poisons on people. And I do like initiating fights with Fracture already on targets. But, you know, to each their own. Channeled Focus. This is going to keep your mag sustain super high. Bull Netch. That's going to keep your stam sustain pretty high. Resolving Vigor. Great high. Also makes you tankier. This is another flex spot. Really, the Sigic ultimate should be here. But I haven't farmed that out on this kid, and I didn't feel like paying for it either. So, alright, so on the blue tree, Fighting Finesse, Focus Mending, Master at Arms, and Ironclad, excuse me. Red tree. Alright, so Rejuvenation, Sustained by Suffering, Pain's Refuge, and Celerity. So as you can see, you know, for the most part on this, it's all about speed and sustainability. But you can definitely, you know, take some shots, especially on your back bar. Speaking of the back bar, while you're on your Ice Staff bar, we have all the passives into the Destruction Staff. So blocking costs magic instead of stamina. Why is that important? Your stamina pool is kind of low as is. And so with the rune always giving you the magic resource back anyways, having the Ice Staff cost magic instead of stam really helps you. You're also going to heavy attack on your Ice Staff a lot. And that's going to not only restore magic, but it's also going to give you a small damage shield. So what I like to do is I'll spam the heavy attack sometimes to reset a fight. And I'll hit them with the elemental susceptibility. Once I get my poisons on them, now I'm going to swap tactics. I'm going to move to my front bar. I'm going to activate my Deep Fissure. You know, my spec bow's already procced up. Hit them with my Fetcher Infection. I'm going to close in. I'm going to hit them with a Donnie. You know, the Beetles are going to hit right after. I'm going to spec bow them in the head for like 16 to 20k, right? And if by some miracle of God they're still alive, I'll hit them with another spec bow or a surprise attack. It's really a ridiculous build. And the amount of burst you can put on 1 to 3 targets that are right in front of you is pretty crazy. There are times where you will just two-shot people with the Beetles and a Dawnbreaker. And if you have a couple people around there doing that, it is wild stuff, man. So, you know, that's going to bring us to a close to the build video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video itself. And, you know, if you guys have any future videos you would like me to do, feel free to always leave that in the comment section. Like I said, I'm kind of sick, so, you know, my kids kind of get me sick, and then I work in the public, so people get me sick. So it's one of the two. I always just blame the kids just to do it. But if you guys have anything that you want, or if you didn't see me cover anything on the build itself, feel free to ask. You know, we are a stage 3 vampire most of the time. We do also go stage 4. Just depends on the situation. But until next time, it's your boy Klaus, man, out.